Hello, students. You're welcome to today's lesson on The Lion and the Jewel by Wole Soyinka. Its summary, analysis, themes, and examination tips. I am Rumesa Adeyemo from English with RMG, and this video is proudly brought to you by IOTA Virtual Learning Platform. The Lion and the Jewel by Wole Soyinka is a comedic drama that examines tradition versus modernity in a small Nigerian village called Ilojile. In this video, we are going to summarize the plot, analyze key characters, discuss the themes, talk about the background to the play, and most importantly, discuss key tips for your YSSE examination so that you can have a full understanding of the play and eventually excel excellently in your YSSE examination. So, are you ready to learn with me today? Get your writing materials and let's begin. So, first, we need to examine the background and context of the play. This is crucial because there is no literature text without a background. Literature texts are not just a play that you read for fun or a story that you read for fun. When a text is recommended to you, it is because the author or the school wants you to learn something that has happened before in the past. There must be something that is happening or that has happened for the author to write the play. So, this is why it is crucial to always understand the background and the context of whatever literary text that you are reading for you to have a better understanding of the play. So, The Lion and the Jewel by Wole Soyinka is set in Ilojile, which is a rural village in Nigeria where traditional values clash with modern aspirations. Soyinka uses satire to critique both traditionalism and blind modernization. That is conservative traditionalism. That is when you hold on to traditionalism unnecessarily, you hold on to old beliefs without opening to any change. Or when you just pivot to new ideas without trying to kind of integrate it with your traditional beliefs, then it is going to have some aftermath. That simply is what Wole Soyinka is trying to portray in the play The Lion and the Jewel. How was Wole Soyinka able to portray this? Well, let's look at the plot summary of the play. Students of literature, you already know what a plot is, right? So, plot summary is just the summary of the events that happened in the play. So, the play is divided into three major parts. We have the morning, afternoon, and the evening. So, let's start with the morning. So, in the morning, the play opens with Sidi, a beautiful lady, which is the jewel in the play, with water on her head, probably coming from the stream or the river walking past in the neighborhood. So he walked past a particular school, a village school, where Lakunle is. So Lakunle is a village teacher who is also interested in city. That is, he is interested in getting married to Sidi. So he tried to remove the bucket from Sidi's head, but Sidi refused to allow him get the bucket off her head. So Lakule begins to remind Sidi about his proposal of marriage to her, but Sidi refused. She said she is not interested in Lakunle because Sidi is a traditional woman who wants a bride price. But Lakunle is not willing to pay the bride price. He sees paying bride price as an archaic tradition. So Sidi says the villagers think that Kunle is stupid, and Kunle also said that Sidi's brain is smaller than his because of his feminine gender. So now people think that Lakunle is stupid because he has gone to the city to school, and when he came back to the village, he felt like many of the things that happens in the neighborhood in the village is archaic, it's barbaric. So he wants everybody to just change and accept modernization suddenly. Lakunle is also kind of extreme because he's not willing to pay the bride price. He sees the bride price as a symbol of archaic tradition. So he feels like he's not going to pay the bride price, that Sidi should just marry him without any bride price. And he's going to make Sidi a modern woman. He's going to save Sidi from going to the river to fetch water or going to the village or doing other house chores that traditional women do. So while they were having the conversation, a village girl comes to announce to CD the arrival of a stranger with a magazine that has beautiful image of CD on the front page. So what happened was that there was a villager that came to the village earlier on to for maybe he was on a visit. So he took some pictures. When he left, he made the pictures into a magazine, like to capture the village and all of that. Side is a beautiful woman, a beautiful lady who is in her prime. So the stranger thought to use a picture as the front page to attract attention. So immediately CD heard this. She quickly went on to look for the stranger and check the photo book. So the photographer made a photo book about the village with CD on the front page. It also features Baraka. So I know I've not mentioned Baraka before. So Baraka is the village head, is the ballet of the community. You know, the community is a Yoruba community. So in Yoruba community, the head is usually called the ballet. So Baraka is featured in a little corner which is shared with one of the walls of the village latrines. So this is like a kind of subtle satire for Baraka for him to have been beside the latrine and CD is boldly on the front page. Do you understand? So Baraka is the village chief, the ballet. So he also got one of the photo book and he also looked through the photo book. He was also interested in CD when he sees the beautiful picture of CD on the front page. So after looking at CD and every other photo in the photo book, he thought to himself, "It's been 5 full months since I took a new wife." So this simply means that he wants to take another wife. Just 5 full months. This is a man that has lots of wives. So here we are depicting, Shoyinka is depicting a traditional what? A traditional patriarchal African society. So this is just a summary of what happened in the morning. So now let's look at the analysis of the morning events in the play. Just the story I just narrated. What is the author Shoyinka trying to portray with these events? So that is what we call analysis. It is different from you just telling the story. So when you write in your examination as well, make sure that you are writing from the analysis point of view. Don't just retell the story because your examiner already knows the story. You need to do what? Analyze. So the first thing we can see there is conflict between tradition and modernity. Sorry, when CD insisted on collecting the bride price, the bride price is a symbol of what? Tradition. But when Lakole sees tradition as something that is barbaric, which is the bride price, he is unwilling to pay. So that is also a what? A symbol of modernity. So there is a conflict. That is the simple reason why CD has refused to get married to what? To Lakole. So Lakole is depicted as a symbol of modernity with no regard for tradition at all, as he refuses to pay CD's bride price. What could it have taken him for him to just pay the bride price? But because Lakole is someone who has just accepted modernity without integrating it with what? With tradition. With some little bit of tradition. Okay, you want to make CD a modern woman. Why not just pay the tradition so that she can be yours and then you move on to do what? To make her the wife just as you wish. So CD is also depicted as a symbol of tradition and she insists on collecting her bride price even though she is fascinated by a symbol of modernity, which is the magazine. If she just wants to be a traditional woman without being fantasized by any symbol of modernity, then she should have just refused the photo book and every other fame that it has brought for her. But she loved the idea of the magazine. She loved the fact that her picture is on the front page. She loves the fame that the photo book has brought for her, but she's not willing to give up the bride price. So now let's move on to the plot summary of what happened in the afternoon, in the noon of the play. So the scene opened with CD walking along a road near the market, admiring her photographs in the magazine while Lakule follows her, carrying the firewood for her. So, Lakule has promised that he's going to make her a modern woman by not subjecting her to the traditional chores that women are subjected to in a patriarchal society, a typical African patriarchal society where the man rules and the women do the house chores. Do you understand? So that is why Lakunle is carrying the wood for her. So as they are walking, Sadiko is Baraka's senior wife. So as I'm introducing the character to you, I hope you are getting it. So you already know who Baraka is. So Sadiko is Baraka's senior wife. Baraka has lots of wives, but Sadiko is the senior. So yeah, she approaches Sidi with a marriage proposal from Baraka. Remember that Baraka just said that it has been five full moons since he took a wife, so now he's looking for another wife. So Sadiku flatters Sidi, saying that if she marries Baraka, she will become his last and most favored wife, eventually becoming the head wife after his death. So she's just trying to flatter Sidi into accepting the proposal. But Sidi rejects the offer, mocking Baraka's age and claiming he only wants her because of her newfound fame. She shows Sadiko the magazine, comparing her youthful beauty to Baraka's aged appearance. So Sidi is not interested in Baraka because he is an old man. But Sadiko, being a traditional woman in a patriarchal society, she didn't see anything bad in wooing a woman for her own husband. A modern woman would be jealous, wouldn't want her husband to take another wife. Talk less of going all the way to woo the woman for her own husband. But because Sadiku is also a symbol of what? Tradition in that sense. So I hope you are noting the points that you can write to support whatever it is that you are writing on traditionalism against modernity. So Lakunle also interrupts the conversation as he is furious at the proposal and warns Sidi about Baraka's cunning nature. He recounts how Baraka bribed a surveyor to divert a railway project away from Ilojile, preventing modernization. So there was also a scene where some surveyor approached the village to make a new road, a new railway project. But because Baraka is a traditional man, so he bribed them and diverted the railway from the community, which is Ilojile. So this is also a sign to show us that Baraka is quite conservative to tradition as well. He's a traditional man, coupled with the fact that he has lots of wives and he is still willing to take up more. So all of these are features that will make us understand that okay, Baraka is a typical traditional man as well. So now the scene shifts to Baraka's bedroom where his favorite wife Ailatu plucks his armpit hairs. When Baraka mentions taking a new wife, Ailatu rejects. So he jealously plucks the hair adder. Do you understand? So Sadiko returns and informs Baraka that Sidi refused him, calling him old. Baraka pretends to be distressed and then lies, claiming he has become impotent. So what actually happened is that Sadiko is back and she delivers the message that Sidi is unwilling to accept Baraka. But Baraka has a new plan, a gimmicks, which he is willing to play in order to get CD. So he pretends that he has lost his potency, that is no longer viral. So he makes Sadiko swear secrecy, knowing she will spread the rumor. He knows Sadiko very well. So he pretends to Sadiko that he wants to confide in her, that he can no longer perform any activity, any bedroom activities with a woman, that is now impotent. Then he made Sadiko to swear that she's going to keep the secret. However, he's just being cunning. He knows that he's still very much potent. So later in the village square, Sadiko joyfully reveals Baraka's impotence to Sidi, celebrating the downfall of male dominance. So Baraka knows that Sadiko is not going to keep it to herself. He knows he's just playing a game. So now Sadiko has went on to tell Sidi about it, and they both celebrated the dominance or the downfall of the male in their society. That is, they've been able to conquer Baraka, who has kept on getting married to a new wife every time. So that is just the symbol of the celebration. That is, they felt like they've overcome the male dominance or the patriarchy in the African society. at large. That's like an extended analysis if you want to analyze that celebration in that scene. So now Emboldened decides Sidi decides to visit Baraka's feast to mock him secretly. Sidi believes she already knows a particular secret of Baraka. That Baraka is now impotent. She believes. So she feels the need to mock him. So however, Lakunle warned her against going because Lakunle knows that Baraka can be cunning. But Sidi insisted she wants to go to Baraka to mock him. Earlier on, Sadiku had invited Sidi to their family dinner, but Sidi declined. But because now she knows that she knew, let's say she knew because that's not the reality, she wanted to do what? Humiliate Baraka. So now let's analyze what is the effect of this event in this noon event. So we have the juxtaposition of Baraka's traditional wisdom against Lakunle's naive modernity. So Lakunle is unwilling to bend what he knows about modernization that CD does not really need about bride price. But Baraka, despite being an old man, is willing to bend. He's willing to play some games. He's willing to play some gimmicks just for him to get what he wants. Do you understand? So also we see that CD selectively adopts modern vanity as she prides in the fame that the magazine brings for her. Despite holding on to tradition by willing to accept a bride price, she still adopts some aspect of what? Of modernity by being happy, by accepting the fame that the Photoshop brought for her. So now let's look at the plot summary of the evening event. What happened in the evening? So Sidi is willing to see the helpless lion in person, believing she can humiliate him without consequences. Lakunle tries to stop her, warning that Baraka is dangerous, but Sidi dismisses him, calling him a coward. So Sidi only wants to do what? She only wants to humiliate Baraka by going to him, and she probably wants to pride that she went to him and he was unable to do anything to her. So she went to the chief, to the palace. So Baraka challenges his wrestler to a match, displaying his strength despite his age. So when Sidi got there, Baraka is also a wrestler. So he challenges a man to a match. So he was wrestling while Sidi watched both of them wrestle together. Do you understand? So I just want to chip this in. Students of literature, when you write, I know I've been moving from past tense to present tense because I'm retelling the story to you. But when you're writing your exam, make sure that you write in the present tense. When you write about any literature, you should always write in the present tense. So after the match, he complains of pain and asks Sidi to massage his back. So Sidi feels safe that she already knows. She feels she has a fact that Baraka is impotent. So she feels safe. She tried to do what? Massage her. So as she was massaging him, Baraka subtly seduces her, proving the rumors of his impotence were false. So Sidi was caught off guard. She is both shocked and intrigued by his charm and virility. So Sidi loses his virginity to Baraka. So in other words, Baraka conquered Sidi. So the next morning, Sidi returns to the village no longer a virgin. She announces that she will be marrying Baraka, not for love, but because he has outsmarted her and proven himself the true lion. She also knows that Baraka is going to pay her bride price. And because Sidi owed there the traditional symbol of bride price and the traditional symbol of virgin, of being a virgin, in a typical African society, a lady must not lose her virginity before her marriage. So she feels that now that she no longer has her virginity, she needs to marry the person that she lost her virginity to. Do you understand? So Lakunle is furious, calling her foolish, but Sidi mocks him, saying he talks too much but never acts. So this is just to show us that Lakunle's unnecessarily holding on to modernity without adding wisdom to it has brought him what? Loss and failure. So Sadiku and the village women celebrate seeing Sidi's marriage as a victory for tradition over empty modernity. So at the end of the play, they celebrated Sidi's marriage. So the analysis of this celebration could be the celebration of tradition, because Baraka is the symbol of tradition. Lakole is a symbol of modernity, while Sidi is the jewel, the prize that both tradition and modernity are fighting to get. And eventually, it is tradition, which is Baraka, that was able to get the prize, which is the jewel, Sidi. So now let's look at the analysis of the evening event. So there are three major events in this part. So Sidi's loss of control, Baraka's victory, and Lakunle's defeat. So we could see that because of Baraka's victory, because of Baraka's gimmicks, Sidi lost control. Baraka outsmarts both Sidi and Lakule, proving that traditional wisdom and strategy prevail over empty modern rhetoric. So probably Shoinka is trying to tell us that there should always be a middle ground. If you're accepting modernity, if you're a traditional person and you're accepting modernity, you should know which to accept and which to refuse. Do you understand? So the irony in how Sidi, despite her pride, falls for Baraka's trick is also a major event. Despite Sidi depicting herself all along as a lady of wisdom, as a lady who knows what she really wants, eventually she was outsmarted by Baraka, because Baraka has an elderly person's wisdom, traditional wisdom, and she also kind of adopts modernity, because she kind of flex, she kind of praised CD with the magazine that, oh, she's pretty on the front page and all of that. So that makes CD to kind of relax with him as well. So Baraka is somewhat able to kind of integrate both modernity and traditionalism. So his seduction of CD is also symbolic, as he assimilates a modern fame into his traditional world. So that's what I've just explained. In order for him to get CD, he introduces the modern fame that is still shacking CD into it. So it begins by praising CD's beauty, showing her the photo book again, and all of that. So that makes CD to relax. And CD thought she knew the reality of Baraka that is now impotent, not knowing that it is all a gimmick to get her. So his impotence rules depicts that true power lies not in strength alone, but in intelligence, with and patience. So seems Shoinka is trying to tell us that victory does not lie in strength alone. You need to have some emotional intelligence. You need to have some strategies if you want to achieve something. You need to put in place some weight, some emotional intelligence, and some strategies, because that is what Baraka did in order for him to get CD. So Shoyinka satirizes pseudo intellectuals who preach progress but lack real world experience. That is, if you know a lot of things, fine. You cannot really prove it until you've used it practically and you're able to use it to achieve your goals. So it is not enough to know. Just like Lakunle uses different pompous language, different pompous English words, big words, but he was unable to get CD. Just a village man who is able to put in some gimmicks, some emotional intelligence, he was able to get CD, which is the prize, the jewel in the play. Do you understand? So I hope you understand the summary, and I hope you understand the analysis. Again, when you are writing for literature, make sure you write in your present tense. It must be in present tense. Do not use the past tense. And another thing you need to note is that write the analysis. Don't retell the story. Don't say, "Oh, when Sidi was coming from the village, she was carrying water on her head." No, you need to write from the analysis point of view. What are the significance of all of these play? Do you understand? So see you in the next video on character analysis and theme analysis. Bye for now.